Welcome to another busy Sunday. I'm Renee.
And I'm Darryl. And this is another R&DW Adventures. Today we're going geocaching again while out running some errands, including getting some stuff for more junk fooding, so look for that soon. But we have one last souvenir that we need to get in this memory lane promotion. So we're trying to get a bunch of the park and grabs in the area. So why don't we hit that, and then we'll tell some stories along the way.
Okay, now that we're about halfway through what we need to do for our caches today towards our next souvenir, we thought we'd stop and talk about my most memorable cache. And it's funny because it was actually the second attempt at this cache that made it so memorable. It was actually the first cache that we tried, or that Darryl took me to, and we couldn't find it. So my very first cache was a DNF. But it was replaced so that we could go back and try to re-find it about 3.5 years later. And when I was coming out from finding that cache, Darryl was there with a ring to propose, so it was very sweet, and it's definitely one of the most memorable caches I have. So that's my story, but we know someone who also has a very similar romantic story.
Hey, Darryl and Renee. Notable memories from geocaching. Well, I've been geocaching for 12 years, so I have a lot of memories. I have over 18,000 finds. I've been, in 25 states, seen half the country, been to Canada. I've done a lot of things. I've had guns drawn on me by police, stared down the barrel of a gun. I have almost died numerous times. Done stupid things in the name of geocaching. But one of the greatest things I did, I think, one of my greatest memories is sitting at a park and grab, just a P&G, a lamp skirt no less, and a car pulls up, and it's my wife. Well, not my wife at the time, but the woman who years later will become my wife. That's where I met my wife, at a park and grab, a bad park and grab, but a park and grab nonetheless. She pulled up, we talked a little bit, said, hey, you want to take a ride and go find some together? Sure enough, there you go. The rest is history. I now have a wife. So that's my most notable memory. If it wasn't for geocaching, I never would have met my wife and lived the fantastic life I live today. So thank you to geocaching for that, and all the memories that I've had for it over the past 12 years. But that's my most notable memory. So thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
So that wrapped up the souvenir with those last 3 caches. So we've now got our 20 years of geocaching. But I need to share my story of my most memorable find, which I've got so many stories, but kind of staying in line with the rest of them, was actually kind of Renee and my first date, even though we've known each other for years, and we actually had like a date before that. We went out geocaching with a friend of ours the next day after we decided to start dating, and did a really unique where I go, where we had to run around inside a supermarket, find a bunch of clues, enter them in to get the finals to do a night cache, where we then needed to do it at night. There were fire attacks, the whole deal. It was a really entertaining cache, really awesome, and I was a little bit distracted during the whole thing. But we'll not get into that here because we've got more to do. We've got to announce 2 winners of the tag and share a tracking number for you. So come on, we've got more caches to find yet out in this area. So we ended up at a cool little park. This is a drainage area kind of thing. So it's like a wetland, a lot of wildlife around us. This is why I like geocaching. No idea this was here before we found these 2 caches to hunt. So we're going to start with one of those in just a moment. Before we do, why don't you share the tracking code for this week?
Okay, today's code is MLRMPF. MLRMPF.
And you can win one of these, or we're going to give one away to someone who leaves us one of their memorable stories from their geocaching career. It can be any time in the last 20 plus years, since we're over 20 years of geocaching now. So make sure to leave those in the comments below before August 1st, and we'll make that selection on August 1st. So why don't you come with us now, and we'll take a look for the first of these geocaches and start sharing some of the stories from the other videos and who won those trackables.
So our first memory lane path tag goes to KD8HWG, who said, so here's my story. I've attended event caches, a cache in, trash out, and even a giga event cache, but I don't have a mega event cache. My plan was to attend the Midwest Geobash for the first time this year, but we all know how things turned out. My first event cache, GC3GW7H, GeoHam's meetup at Dayton, was the 2012 Dayton Hamvention at Hera Arena, an international event for amateur radio that had an attendance of over 24,000. Wow. The event cache had 43 attended logs. My first event cache came 3 years after I started caching, and I have a total of 14 event caches to date. Hopefully I'll get to meet you at next year's Midwest Geobash. Hope to see you there, and congratulations.
So the last winner we're going to mention today is actually HoustonTXDave, and he wrote in, we first discovered geocaching one weekend after a soccer game. She and a friend introduced us to it. We found about 5 or 10 caches. Then we looked up events. The next event was the following weekend. It was the Texas Geocaching Challenge and Festival in Brenham, Texas in 2016. So our first social event meeting other geocachers was a mega event. We were so surprised to see over 300 people. We thought it might have 5 or 10 people. We attended the Geocaching 101 class, got to see and buy trackables and containers. Then we completed the geocaching fun. We have been hooked ever since. Excellent story, HoustonTXDave. Congratulations. And I look forward to meeting you at some point, but that's going to probably be a little while. I think we actually met at the Giga Stock. But so many people, so many great memories, and I just can't even keep track of all of that anymore. But, again, you have a chance to win one of these yourself. All you have to do is drop your best geocaching story in from the last 20 years. Just put a comment below, and we'll get in touch if you're one of those random people selected to get that trackable. So make sure to do that by August 1st. Again, just drop a comment in below with your best geocaching story by August 1st, and you might get one of these memory lane trackables. In the meantime, hit the subscribe button and check out our other geocaching videos, because we've got a bunch more coming your way, including hopefully something very cool in a couple of weeks.